quote the rap legend Jay-Z, I've got 101 problems and a Dalmatian ain't one. Except, of course, that is exactly the problem on today's episode of That Song from That Movie. Are you ready, kids?
I can't hear you.
I was expecting an aye captain there, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I just did the next line.
It's been so long since you've seen SpongeBob.
It has been a long time.
Thank you for joining That Song from That Movie, the journey through the very best and worst of movie songs. I am your haunted, or bewitched, or some such fiddle-faddle host, Dietrich, and we're joined by the most beautiful creature on four legs, Alex.
Didn't know how to respond to that, but thank you for the compliment, D, and yeah, let's just move on.
You've finally done it, D. You've stumped him.
Okay, well, I'll move on then. So,
Nothing else to say.
and we're also joined by, if he doesn't scare you, no evil thing will, Ben.
Yeah, what's that? I'm just the the pedestal on top of which there is nothing worse at this time of Halloween than looking at my visage.
Halloween, that was like 2 weeks ago.
Damn stupid recording system. Merry Christmas.
That's probably a safer bet, and happy Thanksgiving to all our American listeners.
Yep. And a crazy Kwanzaa.
And a bloody brilliant Black Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It may as well be a national, like a world holiday now.
What's going to happen with that now?
Well, it'll still happen online.
Just
won't it?
online.
To do it online, yeah.
Well, that's fair. I never did anything different anyway. Just woke up at 5 a.m. to buy things I don't need.
Are you one of those crazy people who was like storming the supermarket bin to get like £10 off a TV?
That was £20 off last week.
Yeah, standing on people's heads, stuff like that.
Any excuse to do so?
Yeah, you're just there for the thrill.
Just windmilling.
Go in with nothing, come out with nothing.
Obviously, this is the part where I would normally say, what films have you been watching? But I think it's time we just expanded it to, what have you been watching this week?
Birds.
As in...
Not the film, just outside.
The actual thing?
I miss outside. To be fair, I watched The Boys, so if we do expand that, I finished watching that.
Is it any good? I've not started that. I keep hearing good things.
You've not watched the first season either?
No.
I'd say it's definitely up your street. I didn't think it was going as well the second season, but it finished well. So yeah, I think both seasons are very good. In a very different take on the superhero genre.
Cool.
And I will not spoil.
Thank you. Bearing in mind when we recorded this, the first episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian dropped last night.
I have not watched the first season.
I have watched the first season, but I have not watched any episode.
What did you think of the first series? Obviously, no spoilers.
I thought it was pretty good, actually. I wasn't expecting much.
Yeah.
People sort of said it was slow pace, which maybe it is, but I guess that kind of works with the story.
I thought that was the best thing about it.
Yeah.
It took its time to do things. It didn't try to be like the Star Wars films where it's like da 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 sort of thing.
Yeah.
All over the place. It took its time.
And every episode does kind of feel like its own sort of like micro film in a way, doesn't it? Like they all sort of have like a beginning, middle, and end. I liked it, yeah. I was actually pretty impressed by it, much more so than I thought I would be.
Yeah. Well, season 2 is, at the point of recording, is more of the same.
Yeah, but I didn't expect anything else. I felt like they would keep it up because it seems like they've got a formula and they're working well with it, so it doesn't surprise me.
You watched anything this week, Alex?
I haven't watched any films, actually.
It's a good job we expanded it to TV shows, isn't it?
It is a good job, yeah. I think we finished watching Succession. Have you guys watched that?
No.
Well, I haven't even heard of it.
It's pretty much the best TV show out there at the moment. I think it won quite a few of the Emmys. I think the guy who created it was one of the writers on Peep Show, but it is an American like HBO type big deal thing. But it's sort of it's kind of like Murdoch family, you know, the Murdoch Empire, like they own like Fox and Sky and whatnot. So it's kind of like a family in their mold, whereas like there's like an old patriarch who's at the head of the corporation, and then like there's like he's got like 3 kids, and they're all sort of like vying to take over after him. It's absolutely amazing.
It sounds like you're describing the TV show Empire. Does it have songs as good as the TV show Empire?
It's not musical, no, unfortunately.
No. Just go watch Empire then.
But it is absolutely hilarious.
I'd love that for a rationale for why you would or wouldn't watch something. Oh, it's great. Well, yeah, has it got songs though? Yeah. Why not watching Empire then?
Every single show has got songs. No, then why not watching Empire?
2 out of 10, not Empire.
Because I'm watching Nashville instead.
In fairness, that show did go off a cliff after the first series.
What, Empire or Nashville?
Empire.
Yeah, well, and Nashville, really. But yeah, I would wholeheartedly recommend Succession if you haven't already watched it.
Yeah,
it's like pretty much. I'm surprised you haven't heard of it. It's like the biggest TV show in the world right now.
I'm really bad with TV shows. I often think like,
same.
10 episodes, I could watch 5 films.
Well, what's good about this as well is there's only 2 seasons. so it doesn't take long to catch up.
I think there's something I like more about miniseries than just the sort of consistent, like 8 seasons of Vikings or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Those things put me off.
I know what you mean. I don't know if you guys have watched the Watchmen miniseries.
I've not watched it yet. I keep meaning to.
It's absolutely amazing.
Oh,
and it's
great.
it's all the better for the fact that it's only 8 episodes and done.
Yeah.
I think they've already said they're not going to do a new season. But it's Damon Lindelof, actually, D.
Yeah, I want to say. Of course, it's fantastic. It's from the writers of Lost.
Yeah, well,
Let's
honestly,
move on
it's amazing.
before D starts talking about Lost.
Yeah.
Okay, guess we'll crack on with the episode. So today's episode is all of the songs sort of from 101 Dalmatians. So to find out what was happening in the world when the movie came out, it's over to you, Dietrich. Thanks, Dietrich.
Doesn't even need us.
Honestly, 1961, January is not a good time to find news for.
Is that are we moving on then?
Is that it? Yeah, no news.
Yes, the news was 101 Dalmatians came out.
Yep. Good year.
Which I would like to pretend is a joke, but everywhere I looked, that seemed to be the main news story. So I've got 3. They're all very... 2 are very Americanized, and 1 is like an actual sort of news story that we would normally talk about on this show.
Is it wrestling?
It's not wrestling, actually, no. I found 1 news story about wrestling, but it was about the NWA. I thought, nah, it's too obscure.
Nope.
Right, so the flag of the United States of America, the number 1 nation in the world, of course, was lowered for the last time at the US Embassy in Cuba as diplomatic relations between the 2 nations ended.
It's the Cuban Missile Crisis times. I forget, Alex, when was that?
Yeah, it's not far from that kind of time, yeah, definitely. Early 60s. I don't know the exact year, maybe 63, maybe?
Yeah.
What does that mean, lowering the flag? I mean, I know there's a big deal about the flag in America.
That is really weird about America.
No, but about it being touching the ground and things. And
Yeah.
I remember when I was there every morning, we did Pledge of Allegiance at the flags outside. And I still remember it off by heart.
Wait, so you had to do it?
I had to do it. Yeah, well, I mean, we were kind of...
Did you change the word flag to the Queen?
Yeah, to be fair, there was often attempts to sing louder our national anthem. But I think you're doing it to try and get the kids to do it because... So I think it's just that sort of enthusiasm. It's not like you have to do it. You've come on our land. You best pledge. I just find it odd. I couldn't imagine doing that the same, having my breakfast, going and standing outside and going, yep, I have flag.
Yeah, well, it's like that bit in The Simpsons where they accidentally burn the British flag, the Union flag, sorry. And it's supposed to be like, oh, we're really sorry. It's like, it's an accident, who cares?
Yeah.
But to them, it's like, can you believe they burnt the flag?
Yeah.
If anything, in this country, if you see a house with a flagpole and an English flag in it, it's actually more worrying than it is anything.
That's a house to avoid.
And it's not around the World Cup or the...
The World Cup is the only time you can get away with it, yeah.
Yeah, maybe Olympics.
As long as it's a Union flag.
Yeah, to be fair, if you're flying the St. George flag in the Olympics, then you're probably trying to send a different kind of statement.
Yeah, again, it's worrying.
So the flag would not be raised again for another 54 years until Cuba decided they wanted to drink Coca-Cola, or something more political that I didn't really care to look into.
Research.
Interestingly, the 3 Marines that took down the flag in 1961 were on hand to raise the flag 54 years later. Thought it was a nice little bow.
It sounds like when you say took down, I've got them this image of them looking through binoculars at the flag and then doing the clicks and just with a sniper rifle target down.
I like the idea that they just stayed there until they were told they could put it back up again 54 years later.
But that's all I've got on that. So in the world of sport, the first ever NFL playoff bowl was held in Miami, Florida. The match saw the losers of the NFC and AFC championship games face each other in essentially a third-fourth playoff match. Does that wet your whistle, Alex?
Absolutely
Would you have been
not.
excited
No.
for that?
No, I would not. No. It's like when they have the third place player for the World Cup. Nobody cares. Why even bother? You do get nothing for finishing third, so what's the point?
Well, you have good company in the shape of NFL legend Vince Lombardi, who referred to the match as the shit bowl, and going on to describe it as a loser's bowl for losers.
Yeah.
But he wasn't done there.
Oh, okay.
So a few years later, he referred to the playoff bowl as a hinky-dink football game held in a hinky-dink town, played by hinky-dink players, that's all second place, and totally hinky-dink.
He's a big fan of the repetition.
Yep.
Really
Wow.
wants to hammer home the message.
Yeah, he
and I
does.
think we got it. He doesn't like it.
Hinky Dink was clearly the word on his toilet roll that morning.
Clearly. In 1970, the playoff bowl was eventually scrapped by the equally boring Pro Bowl, which remains a boring part of the NFL season to this day.
Again, nobody cares.
Yeah, it's a nothing match that means nothing.
No, I'd go as far as to say it's Hinky Dink, personally.
And our final piece of news, and by far the most interesting, Ham the Astro Chimp, a 37-pound male chimpanzee, was rocketed into space aboard the Mercury Redstone 2 in a test of the Project Mercury capsule. Do you think they told people about the fact that all the monkeys that came back from space came back super intelligent?
So this is how it started. Is that from the Dawn of the Rise of the Born of the Planet of the Apes?
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
That's
it's
the
the opening scene.
Yep.
So he was in space for 16 and a half minutes, which demonstrated to NASA that the capsule could safely carry humans into space.
So did the monkey survive? I'm guessing not.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
What it landed? How?
With sheer ingenuity and skill.
It had like a joystick, which was a banana, and he kept grabbing it.
I just kept pulling it and it worked.
He got one injury from his trip to and from space, and that was upon landing in the ocean, he accidentally bumped his nose and it bruised.
Oh.
Oh.
He lived to about 40 years old, living at Cincinnati Zoo, and then died peacefully.
Did he ever punch a reporter for saying that it was all fake and a hoax?
I hope he did. The other major thing that happened in January 1961, was the release of the Disney animated classic 101 Dalmatians. It was directed by Clyde Geronimi, Hamilton Lusk, and Wolfgang Reitherman.
Wow. What a collection.
3 great names.
Yeah.
And was based on the 1956 book of the same name by Dodie Smith, which is not as impressive as a name.
No.
It's still pretty good. Dodie.
Ain't no Wolfgang, though.
But who is? Who has a name that could rival that?
Clyde Geronimi, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Why is it Clyde? It could be any other name would have accentuated it a little bit more.
No, I think it hits the right balance.
Do you think? To fair, the one syllable followed by the...
Yeah, it gives you
exactly.
that sort of like base to jump off of.
Yeah, like Flex Fight Master.
Sure.
So I'm sure we all know the plot of 101 Dalmatians, but I'd be doing the podcast a disservice if I didn't read out the plot synopsis. So, Dalmatian Pongo is tired of his bachelor dog life. He spies the lovely Perdita and maneuvers his master Roger into meeting Perdita's owner, Anita. The owners fall in love and marry, keeping Pongo and Perdita together. This allows Pongo and Perdita to get it on doggy style. After Perdita gives birth to a litter of 15 puppies, Anita's old school friend Cruella De Vil offers to buy them, but Roger declines the offer. So Cruella hires the criminal Baden brothers to steal them so she can have a fur coat. So obviously, we've seen this movie. So what do you guys think of this movie? And has your opinion of the movie changed as you've got older?
It was one I watched quite a lot of as a child, and I sometimes think, like, did I watch the ones I liked the most, or did I just watch the ones I had the VHS of? I think it was just whatever was available when I was a kid. As I got older, I thought it's kind of paled in comparison to some of the other Disney films. But we watched it, I don't know, maybe about 6 months ago, maybe a bit longer. It is quite entertaining. I think it's these sort of films. I think, like, I'm trying to think of other similars, like Lady and the Tramp or certain parts of Peter Pan. The sort of clipped British accents I find hilarious. Bongo boy, those sort of those things.
It's a good impression.
I just find really, really funny looking back. And the Twilight Bark, I think it is.
Yeah, Twilight Bark.
Which, all those kind of things I just find hilarious. So I think I get a different level or a different kind of enjoyment from it now.
Oh, what about you, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I went to that. I think I watched it maybe like a year ago.
Was this on Disney Plus? Sponsor us.
It wasn't, unfortunately, because it wasn't like if it had been, it would have been on Disney Plus. Yeah,
Sponsor us.
For me, I think actually it's my favourite aesthetic Disney film in terms of what it looks like.
Interesting.
Out of all of the entire collection, I think it just looks amazing. This one, I mean, obviously not the VHS version I had from from whatever decade that was from. That did not look great, but when you watch it now, it looks amazing. Out of every Disney film, it has this really distinct art style. The other one that came out about the same time was The Sword and the Stone.
Yeah,
which
afterwards,
we watched relatively recently as well, and that was terrible. Like, that did not hold up to rewatching for me. That's kind of, I don't know, the two next to each other, this one just looks so incredible. But I think in terms of the story, it's good. It's not a very long film, is it, if I remember rightly? I think it's quite short. I think it's like maybe just over an hour.
That's right. A lot of those films were around that runtime.
Yeah, they did used to be a lot more digestible than they are now, maybe. But for me, it's one of my favourite ones, actually, and I think even when I rewatched it still is, yeah.
Interesting that you brought up the art style, because it's one of the few things I don't like about the film.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Me and my wife have been going through all the Disney classic films in order of their release. I think the one that precedes this is Sleeping Beauty, which has like some of the best animation, which rivals stuff that comes out today.
Yeah.
And then you go from Sleeping Beauty that has these like beautiful painted backdrops to this where it looks like somebody, well, actually, I know for certain, was photocopying cells to save money.
Yeah, they were.
But I like that kind of, I don't know, it's almost like collage or like some sort of But I don't know. I just think it has like a really cool vibe. I think it does. Maybe it's because it's like it doesn't feel as like over the top, like a grandiose or something like Sleeping Beauty.
Which I'm sure was probably on purpose.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It feels very much of the 60s, and I just kind of like that vibe.
Walt Disney was not a fan of the arts animation in this film.
Yes, I've read that before.
He wasn't a fan of most things in this film, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
When did he die, Walt Disney? Was it like, is it around this time or?
It's a good question. Which is annoying because I recently watched a documentary about the Florida project where it talks about him dying, and now I can't remember. It must have been early 70s? I'm Googling. 66, so it was actually mid-60s.
Okay, so yeah, not much longer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I remember around this time there was a lot of talk about the animation studios closing down, I think, just because they weren't doing very well at the box office, were they? I don't know if this changed anything, but I know around this time they were questioning whether to just close animation altogether.
Yeah, so I believe that Sleeping Beauty did quite poorly at the cinema, and they were thinking of just either selling off or just closing completely the animation studio. The reason why this film was, like I said before, was photocopied sales was to save money. Thankfully, it did really well at the cinema. It was like one of the biggest films of the year. That it managed to save the animation studio, and they decided it was worth carrying on. Because at the time, I think Disneyland had opened, and they saw the future in live action in theme parks in terms of revenue, and thought the animation studio could just be left as an expensive project on the side.
Yeah, I did feel like I'd read before that this like film was one of the ones that sort of changed around the fortunes of the animation studio.
Yeah.
So yeah, that does make sense.
So I've got a piece of trivia here about the film before we go talk about the songs. So somebody, and I question the validity of this, but somebody apparently has counted every single black spot in the film, frame by frame. One guess each, how many spots do you think there are in the entire film? Bearing in mind that like each frame would be a new set of dots.
Oh, so like so not like how many that dog has 8 dots. It's how many times that dog's on, so 8, then 8, then 8, then 8 sort of thing.
Yes.
Bloody hell.
And is it literally just spots on dogs? Is that what it's counting? Presumably.
That's what it says.
Right.
As I said, I question the validity of this, but this is the official trivia apparently.
Presumably like in the 100,000s or something.
I'll go 18,000.
Okay.
I want to say like 300,000.
You're both way off.
Is it millions?
It's 6,469,952.
Rubbish.
Which breaks down into an average of 72 spots on Pongo, 68 on Perdita, and roughly 32 on each pup.
I suppose if you take it literally by cell, that's like what?
But how
frame
do you
by
count
frame.
this thing? What is this? I mean, I know computers can do a lot, but get your computer to do something else.
Like I said, I questioned whether or not it was real, but I've seen it in multiple places, including from Disney themselves. So I've included it on the podcast, so nobody can complain that I didn't.
It's probably one of those things that they know no one will ever check. So.
That is a good point, yeah.
Yep, it's like that list I did about the deaths in Disney films.
Yeah. Let's not go back over that again. I'm still furious.
Oh god, your top 5 isn't like top 5 spots in the film or something, is it?
No, quickly scrambles on notes.
So we'll move on to the songs because we've got 3 to cover. And we'll go through them in chronological order, which I'm sure is not what you expected.
No, but I like it.
So all the songs are written by Mel Levin, name not as good as the director's names. He wrote all 3 songs and wrote 3 other songs, which were rejected. So the 3 that are in the film, they're all justified in universe. Roger is singing 2 of them because it's his job, like to sing, and one's a TV advert.
Oh, right, yeah.
The 3 that were removed were all like actual sort of the dogs sing sort of thing. So it was a choice, like almost like a stylistic choice to get rid of the musical numbers and make it more into an actual sort of grounded film. So I guess this movie could have been very different in another universe.
Yeah, it is. It does kind of stand apart from a lot of the early Disney films, doesn't it? In terms of the songs, like you said, because they're actually sort of within the film rather than being like an expression of emotion.
Yeah, exactly. So the first song we'll talk about is probably the most well-known song, Cruella De Vil, which is performed by Bill Lee. That name's nowhere near as good as the director's names.
every single name from now on.
They all get more disappointing from now on.
No.
Who only did the singing voice for Roger. It's easily the most recognisable of the 3 songs in 101 Dalmatians. So, straight up, what do you think of this song?
It is good. I mean, it's not really, because like you said, like it's included in the film. I don't think any of the songs really in this film exceed 1 minute. I mean, maybe this one does in terms of the scene length, because there's a part in the middle where Cruella De Vil comes in and he's like aggressively playing instruments in the attic, which is a great moment. But I think it's a pretty cool song, isn't it? It feels very jingly, but I guess all three of the songs that we're going to discuss are a bit like, they almost feel like advertisement jingles.
Yeah.
I know it's 60s, but maybe they have more of like a 50s vibe. It certainly reminded me of like scenes from Mad Men. I mean, I think it's a very cool song. I think it's been covered about 1 billion times probably. It's got like a bit of a swing vibe, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, it does.
The crooners all like sort of do it. Like I can imagine the Michael Bublé doing a version.
A Christmas version.
A Christmas version. The version that did really stand out to me when I searched just the song name on YouTube. There was a version by Selena Gomez. I don't know if you guys heard this.
I did see that, yeah.
Awful. Truly awful. It was kind of like they tried to do like a pop punk rocky version of it. It was so cringeworthy.
I don't want to go back.
But she's wearing an outstanding trilby hat in the video. I think it said it was from 10 years ago, but I mean, it could well have been earlier than that. It looked earlier than that.
I did see one it was more of like a remix or like a rap version by a guy called Huey Mack, I think it was. I'm not going to talk much about it, but search that one if you want a surprise. What about you, Ben? What do you think of the song?
Quite similar, I guess, in a way. I like the blues element of it. Is quite like sort of toe tapping, but I always kind of judge them like there's a Disney playlist that we always play in the car, like when we're travelling long distances. Usually when I'm travelling back to Leeds, it's a different mood to what I often attribute to the general Disney music or musical numbers. I don't know if it's the difference that I enjoy about it, or sometimes I just don't think it fits right in that world of Disney songs. It's very separate, almost slightly like the Aristocats ones, just at a slower beat. There's something around this time that it's just like that different. It plays a lot more on the music of the time, whereas I think the others are kind of just very sort of sometimes wispy ballad numbers, or just a bit more exposition focused, like we've just zoomed out of the film to tell a bit more about how the character's feeling, whereas these do fit very much in the film, in the story, in the time of when 101 Dalmatians came out. And yeah, I find that quite interesting, but it's not one I go back to. It's not one I quickly think of, I love busting that one out while I'm driving.
It's not one that's going on the Spotify playlist.
No, it's not one of the first ones to get on there, no.
But it is, I think it is definitely one of the most instantly recognisable ones, isn't it? Because obviously the first line is just Cruella De Vil. And I think everyone immediately will know what film it's from.
I think you wouldn't even have to say the words. I think you could just go da-da-da-da-da, and people would know exactly what it is.
Yeah, true. Very true. I'll test that later.
I mean, and as well, if like an Oscar could go to an animation, like his performance in this scene is just outstanding.
Very spindly.
He's very limmy, isn't he? He is very limmy.
That's very much of the animation of the time as well. I think it's like they're puppets on strings, and the strings have been sort of edited out.
So Cruella De Vil was the very first song that Mel Levin was tasked to write after joining Disney. He worked for another animation company, and Walt Disney was convinced by other people to bring him into the fold. So it's time for you guys to guess how long he was given to write Cruella De Vil, the song, in minutes.
In minutes?
Yeah.
38.
Okay. Ben?
10.
Alex is closer. He was given 45 minutes before he had to present it to Walt Disney himself.
Well, that's pressure.
Yep, came out with Cruella De Vil, so he did pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Now what I'm imagining is the scene where Roger creates the song is the scene of the guy writing the song.
Maybe. Yeah. Apparently he wrote 3 versions of the same song. All with the same lyrics, just like a slightly different. One was more bluesy, one was more bebop, it's called.
Yeah, like shoop.
Oh, right, yeah.
That kind of stuff. Clearly Walt Disney was alright with it, because he picked it. Though he did ask the Sherman Brothers to write a song on the side, without telling anybody else.
But that didn't get put in the film.
It didn't get put in the film eventually, no. I think it's mostly because Walt Disney wasn't there for the entire production. He would turn up for like story meetings and production meetings now and then, but mostly he was occupied with trying to set up while doing the plans for Walt Disney World, Epcot and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I thought you were going to say he was busy building his cryogenesis chamber.
Well, maybe. So the song is heard again in another Dalmatians film, and that is the sequel, 101 Dalmatians 2, Patch's London Adventure. I guess, first of all, have we seen that film?
No.
I'm hoping the answer is no.
I think I have seen it. I think I actually have seen it. Was there also a sequel, though, to the live-action version?
There was, yeah.
Called 102 Dalmatians.
That's right, yeah. But we're talking about animation here, Alex. How dare you?
Sorry. I was just thinking, like, wasn't the cartoon version also called 102 Dalmatians? But apparently it was called 101 Dalmatians Patch's Adventure, London Adventure.
Yep, it was. And it's one of the very few Disney straight-to-video, I guess, at the time, movies that has a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
But in that film, Cruella gets into a car, hears the song on the radio, which infuriates her, and so she decides to smash up the car radio.
Does she still have that absolutely awesome badass car from the film? Is it the same?
I've not seen it.
No, I mean from you've not seen, no, as in the car from 101 Dalmatians. She has that like really awesome like sort of Rolls.
Well, yeah, but I've not seen 101 Dalmatians 2 Patches London Adventure.
Oh, so you don't know if it's the same car.
Yeah, we will have to do that film at some point in the future because it actually has its very own tie-in song sang by Will Young.
When was this film from? Like 2003 or something?
Like 2003, bang on. Yeah.
Oh.
Alex pretending he doesn't know Will Young's discography off the top of his head.
Well, what is the song?
I don't know. We'll cover that in a future episode.
Okay, I look forward to it.
Which, that brings us close to my Cruella De Vil section, which now means we get to move on to the juicy stuff. Kanine Krunchies was performed by Lucille Bliss, who, in a piece of Disney cross-referencing, voiced Anastasia in Cinderella.
Okay.
Yeah, just a bit of trivia for you there. Alright, so bearing in mind, Kanine Krunchies is world-renowned for being one of the most iconic songs in Disney's, and possibly all media history. What do you guys think of this song?
Did you just do this episode so we could talk about Kanine Krunchies?
No comment.
I mean, it's like effective marketing within marketing. It's a product they're advertising in a film which has unequivocally also impacted you on wanting to, after all these years, still talk about Kanine Krunchies.
Please tell me that they must have made a real product called Kanine Krunchies at some point.
They really should.
Dee's eating it for his breakfast right now.
Well, I was going to say they might have made like a human version. You know, like when they did Scooby Snack cereal.
Yeah.
I hate those cereals. There's like the frozen ones and stuff like that. They're always...
They look terrible as well when you're in the supermarket.
They really do.
I remember there used to be there was a Simpsons cereal at one point. Did you guys ever try that? It was absolutely disgusting.
Icarumbos.
I don't think it was.
Jaggidos.
Called.
It was definitely called Icarumbos.
It was awful. It tasted disgusting, and that's what the Scooby Snack one tasted like. It tasted the same as that.
Listeners, I'd just like to remind you, Alex eats so much food that for him to say something is awful is a real marker for something.
Oh, it's a vegetable.
Oh, it's a vegetable, yeah.
Yeah,
was that what it was? Was it just sprouts in water?
Maybe.
In milk.
Maybe it was like cooked in vegetable oil.
It's your parents trying to get you to eat veg. It's Simpsons cereal, Alex. Just broccoli in a bowl.
It's just a broccoli with Marge's face on it.
I can't help but notice that neither of you have given your opinion of the greatest song in Disney's back catalogue, Kanine Krunchies.
I can only remember Kanine Krunchies, and that's about it.
My greatest takeaway from this song is that it comes after possibly the best scene of 101 Dalmatians with Thunderbolt.
Oh, yeah. Thunderbolt.
Which is a show that I would definitely watch. It looks awesome.
Even if it had a tie-in cereal.
Do we actually ever find out what happens to Thunderbolt where he falls off into the waterfall? I don't know if you ever see the closing part of that.
Maybe that's brought up in 101 Dalmatians 2 Patches London Adventure.
Oh, I bet you know already.
Alex, as if you don't know already.
I genuinely haven't seen this film. It's my favourite film.
I'm expecting a Thunderbolt and Woody's Roundup crossover.
Oh yeah.
You're very much of the same mould. I think to go to if we actually are going to cover this, and that is a genuine opinion that you have. I feel like you, after what you said about the song, you should have to justify why it holds that position.
And not use Roger Ebert quotes.
No, it's a fantastic piece of jazz music where the words fit perfectly on the beat of the song. Music.
That's all he's got, Alex. That's all he's got.
That's all it's got. It was obviously very catchy. You can't.
So it's written as a jingle, and you both grew up with dogs.
Yeah.
So the question it really is: would you have bought nutritious Kanine Krunchies for your dog?
Just on the
First of all, I never bought the food, and I don't know. Win-a-lot's pretty good.
There was a brand of dog meat.
Dog meat.
I think it's Wilco's.
I don't know why. It just makes it sound like you're just grabbing random food. Dog meat.
Dog meat. There's a brand. Well, you're not going to enjoy this, Ben, because there's a brand of dog meat at Wilco's called Ben.
Yeah.
And my dad used to refer to it when you came around to the house sometimes, Ben the dog, because it's a dog food.
It does sound like your dad.
So this is legitimately one of the three songs from the film. Like as an actual sort of, it's not part of the score. It's a fully written song. But what it actually is my wife's favourite Disney song.
Really?
Well, one of. The rest are in Mulan. I wish I was joking that every time she hears it, she will sing it for weeks. I would just be like sat watching something and just going.
I can imagine her doing the voice.
Yeah.
I think it's. Is it the? I bet it's the longest song in the film as well, isn't it? It feels like it is.
It feels like it for D. It's been going on for like the last 10 years.
Yeah, I think in terms of how much of the actual song is played in the film, it's the longest. But in terms of the fully fleshed songs like available on like the soundtrack and Disney compilation albums, the shortest of the three.
Oh right, okay.
Is Rolly the dog that's at the screen, or is that a different dog?
No, that's Lucky.
That's Lucky. And then Rolly's just the...
Yeah, Rolly is the
I'm
fat
hungry,
one.
man.
I'm guessing your top 5 isn't the name of the dogs.
It's not, but I was tempted.
Yeah, well, Rolly, Patch, Penny,
I'm now glad I didn't.
Pongo and Perdita. I got 3.
Colonel. He's not one of the Dalmatians, but he's a dog.
Something I didn't mention. So, what colour are the dogs in the film? As in the Dalmatians?
Is this like whether they're black with whites, or are they white
Black with white bits?
No, it's not. It's not that kind of scenario. It's basically what I'm asking is: do you think they're white because they're not?
What, the yellow?
They're grey because they were worried when it got to the snow scene that they would just blend into the background, or it would accidentally burn out projectors in the 1960s in cinemas because it was so much light, so they had to tone down the colour of the dogs.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do wonder whether or not they would go back, well, not go back, but whether or not they would change it now via the magic of computers, make them white with black dots.
They possibly already have.
Maybe. And I would be surprised if the TV show wasn't just white with black dots and nobody realised. And that's one of the many TV shows. Did you watch the animated show as a kid? As in the one that was a TV show when we were children?
I did not.
No, I wasn't even aware of it. I thought you were still talking about Thunderbolt.
No, I remember it existing.
Yeah, it was on Dig It every Saturday morning.
Well, there's the reason I didn't watch it. Literally, exclusively 3 channels: Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Fox Kids, and Rotate. And maybe at 9 o'clock when they became Paramount Comedy, TCM, and something else I've forgotten about.
Challenge?
It might have been Challenge, yeah.
Yeah, or Bravo.
Right, let's move on to the third and final song, which apparently is Alex's favourite, Dalmatian Plantation. So, as with Cruella De Vil, the song was performed by Bill Lee. I told us the names weren't going to get any better, because they're the same.
They're the same.
Just to fill you in, listeners, Alex was apoplectic when I didn't mention this song in our WhatsApp chat about this film. So, Alex, and this better be worth it, what did you think of this song?
Well, first of all, like, you said we were doing the songs of 101 Dalmatian, and you just named 2. There's only 3 songs in it. I mean, like, it's not much of a stretch to include the other one.
Let's count down.
I mean, all I really remember is the one line, but it always sticks in my head.
And is there many more?
No, there isn't many more in the film. I don't know if there's a... By what you said, it sounds like there must be an extended version.
Correct. It's quite a long song, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe that would change my opinion of it. I think what I truly enjoy is just the fact that Anita and Roger, they just don't seem that fussed about the fact that they've just gained 100. They've gained 84 dogs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, we'll just move and buy a farm, and we'll just have a Dalmatian plantation, and here's a song about it. It's like, what? And as well, I worry about the housekeeper, because like, is she going to move to the farm as well? You know, Nanny or whatever her name is, Ben's favourite character.
Think about the amount of dog poo she'll be having to clean.
I know.
It was already a lot with 15.
Imagine the amount of Ben dog meat you're going to have to buy.
That's the sort of, like, as you become an adult, when you watch back these kids' films, you're just like, that's ridiculous. That's stupid.
There is something really oddly satisfying, though, about when Nanny's dusting the dogs and the soot comes off.
100%.
It's very, very satisfying.
It's like a YouTube ASMR video.
Yeah. It's also not going on the floor. It's just disappearing. Perfect.
It's just disappearing.
Perfect soot.
Yeah, it should be going on the other dogs.
Yeah, imagine it's just a never-ending loop.
Maybe that's why they're going to move out, because it's never going to clean off that soot is never going to come out of all the furniture.
Well, it would be a sensation.
Yeah, a Dalmatian plantation. It's a very joyous ending to the film, I think.
It's a bit twee.
And Roger gets like his guile back, his humour, his jig. I enjoy that because, like I said, I really appreciate when he's doing his Cruella De Vil action before.
Yeah.
So I like to see him filled back with that life from the beginning of the film. The beginning of the film is a bit like weird. He's a bit like holed up in like an attic or something and doesn't want to go outside and doesn't want to meet anybody. Yeah. So I felt this is a real story for Roger.
Yeah, it's like 101 Dalmatians or How Roger Got His Groove Back.
Yeah, there you go.
Or it's one of those sort of scary Minority Report things in which he's actually still in his room and he's just fantasizing in a lost world of never-ending dogs.
He's entered the dog oasis.
Is it? I'm thinking of ending things, Ben.
Oh, no, let's not talk about that film.
Not again. But yeah, I do like the song, and I think it would have been a shame not to at least include it.
And so we have.
And what about you, Ben?
Yeah, I remembered it.
High praise.
Like I say, the best part of it is once the dogs arrive, Roger starts congratulating Pongo that he's sired another 84 pups.
And Pongo doesn't deny. No, they could because he's a dog, but...
And Perdita doesn't question it.
Yeah. Pongo, you rascal.
So, we did briefly mention it there. Only the first 4 lines of the song are actually heard in the movie. And even that is spoken over by Rowley asking for food. Do you think that's a sign that this is the weakest of the 3 songs? Because it is.
Well, does he not speak over the Kanine Krunchies song as well?
I don't think so. Somebody goes up to the screen.
There's definitely an interruption in it. I watched it earlier. It's kind of an interesting Disney film for us to have chosen, because I feel like in terms of the strength of the songs, it's not a key component of the film, as we sort of discussed at the beginning. Personally, I would say that Kanine Krunchies is the worst. But that's not going to go down well with you, D, or Kate.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's certainly not as good as Cruella De Vil.
I mean, it's stupid to even compare them.
Well,
no offence.
Hang fire, because we have an entire segment still to come where you pick the best and worst. No, just the best. You pick the best.
I know, I just did. When we put this Twitter poll out,
people are going to laugh at us.
Now, no, I'm not even going to set myself up, because the contrarians out there are just going to be like, well, now I'm going to do it. Screw you.
Kanine Krunchies. It's clearly the best. Well, I know which one I'm voting for. Dalmatian Plantation.
I mean, Kanine Krunchies is already going to have at least one vote for my wife, so... To round this off, I've got an Idiot's at Genius for Dalmatian Plantation. Slightly different this week. Genius, as well as doing lyrical explanations, it also lets you do an overall song description, an overall song summary. This was the only one that had one of these, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. So this is a summary of what the song's about. A song.
Is that it?
That's it. Somebody's taken the time to write a song.
There's further examples of why these should not be even compared.
What, are you saying that the other 2 are not songs?
No, I'm not saying. Oh dear. Oh, it's in my head now, that's the thing. I'm just... have a Dalmatian plantation.
Is there something odd about the fact that Roger's first thought is we'll make a plantation?
Yeah. Free labour.
Yeah, is he planning to sell I don't know, coffee or sugar, or is he
I don't think the commodities of London are coffee and sugar, to be fair. You'd have to be shipping these dogs. Is that what the second one's about? That Lucky's escaped this sort of massive...
Lucky?
Not Lucky, whatever it's called.
Patch?
Oh my god, just move on.
Okay, we'll move on. It's time for Ben's top 5.
Oh, why is it me? Hello everyone. Went very basic this time. Not the names of the dogs. I did have that list, but it is now gone. Instead, very simple, straightforward. You should be able to get this as the Disney aficionados that you are. Again, as I always do, as I am an avid believer in this segment, went through various lists on the internet, compiled them in a database. Some very serious websites. What are the top 5 fan favourite dogs in Disney film? I've included Pixar just because a lot of lists did include Pixar.
Doug,
yeah.
Doug is number 1.
What are the names of the dogs in Lady? Well, I know Lady is called Lady. I can't remember what the tramp dog is called.
It's Tramp. Tramp is number 4.
What Lady's not in the list?
The Lady's not on the list.
That's how much. Pongo?
Pongo is not on the list. There is no dog from 101 Dalmatians.
A film exclusively about dogs.
Yeah.
Get Pluto out of the way and people like that.
Pluto is number 3. Yeah, that's the thing. Goofy was in quite a lot of lists at number 1, but then a lot of lists explicitly stated he's not a dog.
He's a cow.
What
That's not a joke. It's a cow.
He's a cow. Well, then why is he in so many lists of being a dog?
I don't know. People are idiots.
He's a cow. He's actually a cow.
Yeah.
Also, let's just take a quick second to say the Goofy movie is absolutely fantastic. There we go.
Yeah.
There's literally one. For the first time, you might actually finish a list.
The dog from Pocahontas.
No.
The one from Toy Story.
No.
Spike.
No.
Oh, Bolt.
No.
Bolt's not in it.
Bolt's not in it. No.
Bolt's a great film. It's one of the few good films around that era of Disney films.
The Hound from Fox and Hound.
There we go. Copper,
that's it.
Yeah, you eventually were running out of dogs, to be fair.
Wait, have we got them all? Was that the last one?
Yeah. Doug, Copper, Pluto, Tramp, Goofy. I feel like I'm ascending to a higher level of consciousness. I've escaped my list hell. Back to you, Dietrich.
Ben will be back next week with another list for all of you.
No.
So,
if it doesn't crush his soul in the meantime.
it is the list segment, the Toy Story 4 of the podcast.
Well, let's not go there. I don't sometimes wake up at 1 a.m. thinking, oh crap, I haven't seen Toy Story 4 as I do with this list.
I watched it again the other day. It's pretty good, actually. I think I should give it a go.
I'm going. Bye-bye.
Right, so now it's time to decide what is the best song. This shouldn't take very long. Alex, what is the best song of the 101 Dalmatians?
Kanine Krunchies.
Correct. Ben, what is the correct... Alex, what is the best song?
It's Cruella De Vil, dude. It's literally pointless. It's a pointless question.
Please don't disrespect this segment.
No, it's truly the most important question in my life right now.
Yes. What about you, Ben? What's the best song? Assuming you're still there, of course. Okay, I'll take that as Kanine Krunchies. So that's 1 for Kanine Krunchies and 1 for Cruella De Vil. I will play it sensibly and go with...
Are you finished talking about it?
Yeah, we have. So you voted for Kanine Krunchies by proxy, which makes it my vote now Cruella De Vil. So it's a 2-1 victory to Cruella De Vil.
Oh, it's close.
Oh, good.
Sensible choice from you, Ben, but, this time, being the contrarian did not work out for you.
God, I'm so theming.
Okay, that brings an end to another episode of That Song from That Movie. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you want to help us out, you can do that in one of 3 ways. 1, you can follow and share this on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is what, Ben?
TSFTM pod.
Thank you. You can also help us by sharing this on a subreddit. Alex, what subreddit should it be this week?
Roger's Dalmatian Plantation.
Thank you. And the third and the most important way you can help us is on Patreon. Think of it as a tip jar. We want your money. We want your support. So go there, sign up. Why don't you go for the higher tier and show how much of a baller you are? Patreon.com/TSFTM. So all that's left now is to do some goodbyes. So it's goodbye from me. Goodbye. And goodbye from Alex.
Anita, darling.
And goodbye from Ben.
Puppies!
So goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Toodle pip.
Mummy, I'm hungry.
But I'm hungry, Mother.
It's so ghostly, do you not think? It's like a haunted child.
It is,
But
yeah.
I'm hungry, Mother.
I haven't eaten in 12 years, Mother.